great stuff going on in America. So here we go.
Live and local talk from the mind behind the Overton Report. It's time for Palmetto Talk Live with your host, Corey Allen. Now, your host, Corey Allen.
All right, that's me. And like I said, we have CJ Westfall in studio. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Corey.
Oh, it's good to see you. You guys had a pretty eventful meeting yesterday. You're obviously chairman of the Dorchester County Republican Party. And you got some things passed, got some things done. Tell us about what happened there last night.
Yeah, we passed our largest budget of the year, Corey, investing in our largest fundraiser of the year. We're hoping to raise some funds so that we can defend Dorchester County against these crazy socialists that are, I guess, every other week they're meeting in Hutchinson Square to do these weirdo rallies, and they just talk about how we're the socialists taking over the Democrat Party. So, yeah, we passed our largest budget of the year, Corey. We're super excited about our August 22nd, 6th annual Faith, Family, and Freedom Dinner. You were there. You did some great interviews there last year. We also passed a major investment into the western part of Dorchester County, Ridgeville, St. George, major battleground area held by a Democrat. President Trump carried the area. We think Republicans should represent that area, so we're going after it hard. And we heard from Senator Fernando King Fez, late night with Fernando. Love Tom Fernandez.
Yeah.
He came in, and we just had an overall great meeting. All of our votes were unanimous on all these key items. And our party's firing on all cylinders going into November.
You know, that's awesome because I know last year when you were putting together the Faith, Family, and Freedom fundraiser, I guess that was the second. Was that the second annual?
That was the 5th because it had been going on.
Right under. Yeah,
it had been going on before.
It was the biggest for sure, though.
It was the biggest. It was the most that our party had ever raised in a night. Shattered all the records from the previous chairman.
Yeah.
And we had a great lineup, and then it was really cool because we had like 5 or 6 really cool guest speakers.
Yeah.
And you got to sit down for like 10-15 minutes with each one, do like micro interviews with them.
Yeah, that was
fun.
Like Ralph Norman, Alan Wilson, Pam Evett, Josh Kimbrell, the people running for governor. Yeah.
And then Ellen Weaver and Paul Dans as well.
That's right, cool. Paul Dans. I didn't get to sit down with Ellen.
Oh, okay.
But,
that is weird. I forgot about that.
But yeah, I've interviewed her before. She's, that's going to be an interesting race. Lisa Ellis is running against her again.
Oh yeah, throwback right there.
I
guess they're not. I guess they realized they couldn't run in our Republican primary anymore.
That's right, with Kathy Manis.
Right.
I'm shocked she's not the nominee, but Lisa Ellis, man, I don't think we should underestimate. Because
is it her? Is it her again, or is it? I thought it was like this black woman.
Really?
Yeah,
I know that.
Oh, maybe the black woman ran in the primary and lost.
You might be right, but I'm not the candidate. No, it's her.
It is okay.
Lisa Ellis.
Yeah, no, she's extreme. She's going to be pushed by the teachers' unions.
Oh, you know what? No, she didn't win.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It will be Sylvia Wright.
Sylvia Wright and Sylvia Wright was in Somerville. So Sylvia Wright, she's the black woman, and she was sharing the stage 2 weeks ago with a guy, the Prophet. You know the Prophet?
Oh, no.
The Prophet. She was right there with the Prophet who said, "We are the socialists taking over the Democratic Party." Earlier in that rally, they said, ICE is a bunch of fascist thugs in North Charleston. We need to resist them at all turns. What else did they say? They had some crazy stuff they were saying.
Is that filmed?
Oh, yeah. I'll send you the link.
Please send me the link. Dude, that dude, Prophet SC, I don't even know what his real name is, but...
Brian Holman. He's running for county council.
Yeah, Brian Holman. Brian Holman, that's right.
Shout out Brian Holman.
Shout out, man. I've asked him to come on the show. He said, "Oh, come on the show." And I was like, well, wait, I caught up with him in Marion Square at some point, and
I saw you guys on the live stream.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, yeah, you're big when you can type behind such a piece of. Anyway,
the Prophet. There's a guy that calls
a socialist, a full-on communist. I don't know. He's more like a Stalinist than anything, because he really does believe. He believes in power, but having it.
Workers. Yeah, he believes in seizing the means of production, doing radical wealth taxes. So if you make over $80,000 a year, then you're a wealthy person that needs to have 50% of your income confiscated and redistributed. What's funny about him is, because I've had some back and forths with him that were actually pretty positive, but he is a admitted socialist who's running for our Dorchester County Council, and he's actually running for my county council seat, which is now open.
Oh.
So like this is what I try to yes,
Your seat?
where I live. And so this is what I try to explain to people about Dorchester County, like people don't realize is there's probably, Corey, only like 6, I think maybe 7 counties where there's actually red versus blue battleground areas. And so a lot of these folks, like when you see people like Barry Sanders wanting to run for chairman of the state Republican Party from Oconee County, right?
Yeah.
I love Oconee County. I love some of the folks from there, but it's like these folks don't know what it's like to have to go beat Democrats, to raise the money, build the ground game, build the infrastructure. They have no idea what it's like, because this is a unique
Right.
thing. We've got 3 or 4 really major battleground areas in Dorchester County where we have to raise resources. We have to build grassroots action teams around the county, and
And you have to, and you're not in an echo chamber. You have to engage with that side of the aisle.
Bingo.
And you're absolutely right on that. And it's interesting to me because in those areas is where you will find the deepest factional divides within the Republicans, right? Because they have to, if they want to seek power, they have to do it within the infrastructure of the Republican Party, and in order to seek that power, they have to. Well, the easiest way is to find, isolate, and paint an enemy.
Yeah.
And then pretend that they are the solution to that enemy.
It's like
and
the Greenville-
only enemy is the Republicans.
That's like
other
the Greenville.
Republicans.
That's like the Greenville politics. But
Yeah.
in reality, we have to come together. We have no choice, because if we don't, we're gonna lose all these seats of Democrats in Dorchester County. So, anyways, August 22nd, mark your calendars. All the folks that were sponsors, Corey was a sponsor. Corey was a major gold sponsor, and the fundraising letters went out, and we're going to release tickets in our speaker lineup in early August. So keep this. But this has always been something that people from around the Low Country come to. It's like last year, I think we had 280 people there. This has always been a Low Country wide thing. So if you live in Charleston, Berkeley, even if you're living in the Midlands or Greenville or Myrtle Beach, you got to come check this out. It's a really neat event. It's a fun night. One year they did dancing, and we're going to bring that back. We got a DJ coming this year. People are going to have a wonderful time. People are going to celebrate with Patriots. And even if you just buy a ticket to it, you're helping fund and power our operations to defend our county against these crazy socialists.
Yeah, and they are crazy socialists, and it's funny because we have, you'll always have Democrats and especially like voters who constantly say we're not socialists, we're just Democrats, but it's like, it's no secret now. I mean, for years we've been saying, listen, socialists are taking this party over. It is happening. And now it's the headlines. So once again, it's not happening, and then like, okay, well maybe a little bit, and then actually it is happening, and it's good that it's happening.
Yeah.
They're so
Kind of like how they are in abortion, where it's like, we don't want abortion on demand. Well, it's like, and then they just slowly inch their way into saying the quiet part out loud, where it's like, okay, fine, abortion up until 9 months,
yeah, exactly. Which, dude, there are so many people. I don't know if you ever read the comments under some of my posts from leftists, but they're insane. I posted a meme, and they're like, "Source? Like, what do you
What's your
mean?
source, bro?
What's your source?" Actually, we're going to talk about that. The illegal immigration voters, like illegal immigrants voting. We're going to talk about that later. What's your source? I don't know. The Department of Homeland Security, dick. Like, does that count? No, because Donald Trump. Okay, great.
Donald Trump's a fascist thug.
Yeah. Senate, bro. So
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into the Senate race.
Dude, there's 3 candidates that need a waiver from the SCGOP. It's almost as somebody could have called how absurd the situation we find ourselves in with these folks not meeting the candidate requirements. It's almost as if somebody could have predicted that this was going to be a ridiculous situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that, because of course, we had the special called convention, and they kept closing the primaries with the 2/3 rule and 90-day registration. Those are the 2 requirements. 90 days as a registered Republican. If they would have separated those, which they did play fast and loose and make sure that they could not really, in reality, be separated. Do you think that they both would have still passed separate?
It depends, because there was a lot of additional delegates that were a lot of people feel didn't qualify that were in the room. So the room was kind of stacked in the favor. But if you had a truly fair vote of all the SCGOP's true delegates that were actually elected in the proper way, which I don't want to get into that nuance, then I don't think so. This was, to break it down, we always complain, and we're gonna talk about an example of this later with the NDAA that has to pass,
Right.
so that we have our defense authorization and we can fund our military. It always happens in Washington D.C. where something super popular is going through, and something super extremely unpopular gets attached to it. So like at that convention, everybody's for closed primaries. It has to pass. We have to vote for it. That's exactly what happened with the candidate qualifications. It's like, okay, you have to have this or else you're voting against closed primaries. Same thing with that we'll talk about later, merging some of our, our military intelligence, research and development, and data sharing with Israel. That had to pass, because if not, you're voting against the NDAA. Are you going to vote against the military? It's the same concept that they did then that they did this week in Congress.
I think that it probably would have passed, but with a lower margin. And,
Maybe.
And I also believe that, and it's all conjecture, like we don't know, but
speculating.
I also think that it was a very good opportunity, and this shows the unwillingness of people like Drew McKissick to actually try and bring the unity that he pretends that he wants.
Sure.
If it had been separated, then it would have been a masterclass in actually bringing the party together.
We did make a motion. Our Dorchester County guy made the motion to split it, and the room did not want it to be split because they were coached to vote against that motion. But I go back to, there were a lot of people who were not actually delegates. So basically there's a whole process where if you want to vote at a state convention, you have to be elected to be a delegate or an alternate. But if you're not elected to be a delegate or an alternate, then you could have been anybody who showed up to reorg. And then if you didn't show up to reorg, then you could just be anybody off the street. They were pulling people off the street from Greenville and various other counties that weren't ever selected by their local party leaders to be there, or the grassroots of the party. And so they were bussing folks in and not credentialing them properly. And it's so crazy because for our local party, we have to follow that 2 of 3 rule. So like there was people that maybe wanted to be a delegate or wanted to run for vice chair of my party that didn't meet that 2 of the last 3 requirement.
But there was no way to check that on the people they were pulling off the street.
So that's what I'm saying. And so the other piece of that is whenever it's an inconvenience to them, that rule is strictly enforced. But whenever it's somebody that's a friend of the program, because before, and God rest his soul, I'm still truly, even though I didn't agree with Lindsey Graham on a lot, heartbroken by his loss. Celebrating death is not what we should do. We're the pro-life party.
Yeah.
But what I'll tell you is you really couldn't tell the difference between the SCGOP and the Lindsey Graham campaign. It's literally the same people, revolving door. They usually work for both apparatuses. And now that a friend of the SCGOP needs a waiver, I think the vote might not even come to a waiver. I think what will happen is a group of insiders within a group of insiders, which is the SCGOP's Rules Committee, is going to give a favorable interpretation. They're going to interpret this state Senate race that happened with Katrina Shealy, the pro-abortion senator, where Darlene, she couldn't vote in the 2024 February, if you remember, presidential primary, and President Trump and Nikki Haley. She couldn't vote in the Sherry Biggs against the Mark Burns primary.
Yeah.
But when Katrina Shealy needed her, she got up. So we are praying for Darlene, no doubt about it. We're praying for peace and healing. She's being thrust into a position by consultants and staffers and interests.
Yeah.
We're praying for. She got millions of eyes on her while she's grieving her father figure. But at the same time, they made their bed. We're going to make them lie in it, Corey.
I mean, I get it. I am, and again, this goes back to, I guess now there's at least one, maybe 2 other people who are running who would need a waiver. And the rules committee. Let me ask you this first: the rules committee in the South Carolina Republican Party. How are they selected?
I'll take a guess.
They're appointed and then
So
voted on by the
basically,
EC.
basically, yeah. So they're like at the beginning after the term, the chairman will say, "Here's who I want," and then the executive committee will approve it.
Okay. Yeah. At what point is it? So would you say that you said insiders within insiders. So would you say that the state executive committee are insiders?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But at least,
what do
at
you
least
mean by
every,
that then?
At least every county should get a vote on this current rule with Darlene, right? And here's what we were kind of
And
talking.
they will, right? Or
So I'm thinking-
if the rules committee decides that the
Interprets
special
it.
primary.
So I think that they don't want to bring it to the executive committee because here's the deal. So we're talking some inside baseball here. But what we're talking about is every county in South Carolina gets one vote on the state executive committee. And with this new rule that was passed July 1st, and there was some disagreement, and here's where Corey and our disagreement is the party doesn't have any real authority. It's really just a club, except for certifying qualified candidates. That is our
Qualified candidates according to state law.
Boom. Well, according to what the party decides is what a qualified candidate is.
If it does not conflict with state law.
So hear me out. So for example, whenever it's time to go certify candidates in my county to appear on the ballot, I have to take a form down to this county election commission, sign, say these are all qualified candidates. Well, we just changed the definition of what a qualified candidate is. And so 100% this factors into this week. And by the way, the certification has to take place, Corey, on Tuesday. And so here we are Friday. The SCGOP has stonewalled all week. They haven't talked to anybody. And frankly, for 3 days, they were hiding from the media. There was all these national, local, state media that were reaching out and trying to get an answer. But we issued that formal challenge of her candidacy, not because we want to do anything to harm her personally. And it's really not about her because truly
No, it's about the state.
like mature, critical thinking, independent thinking people can compartmentalize two thoughts at once. Yeah. I truly do feel bad for her in the position she's in, but we need to apply the rule equally.
Well, and also it's not we have a state to think about and decades of, I mean, there are 5.5 million people here. It's not about, your brother died, I'm sorry, but that doesn't grant you permission for royal succession.
And Corey, by the way, real quick, what we're talking about is the most powerful legislative body in the history of the world.
Well, that's right.
For 6 years.
At least.
So
generally more. Usually more.
Yeah, the power of incumbency is almost impossible to break.
Especially in Senate. However, here's the deal. So as the rule stands right now, and this is where our big disagreement is, and I don't know how we bridge this, because so we know that there's a lawsuit against the state legislature right now that has been filed by the South Carolina Republican Party, right? And that lawsuit, the reason that these rules were passed was to give the state party standing to file a lawsuit against the legislature under a fairly obscure Supreme Court ruling that Texas uses and Connecticut uses to allow for the free association of the parties. Because as of now, the state legislature, the state law, does require things. That's why we have an open primary, why we can't close them unless we did it by state law. And so we've done this in the party so that we can file a lawsuit, and eventually it will come down in our favor. The 2/3 rule is a part of that.
We hope.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's interpreted, as long as again, Texas did it and used this same precedence, and it worked out in their favor.
But the SCGOP did try suing for closed primaries before, and they walked away from the lawsuit.
Well,
that's
right. They walked away from the lawsuit.
They knew they were going to lose.
Well,
this is Drew McKissick's reelection.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's okay if you want to keep drinking the Kool-Aid, Corey. That's totally fine.
Give me a fucking break. However, now all three of the lawyers on this case who drafted not only the rule but drafted the initial law that the legislature failed to pass, and are working on this pro bono for and have drawn up the lawsuit. not only do they agree that it is unenforceable until after litigation, but the state election commission, I reached out to them, and they said the same thing.
So why is the state party so worried about me suing them over this?
Okay, so I don't know that they're worried about you.
Oh, they are.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but that's what I mean. So, but here's the deal. So, they want it. I believe that they want it in effect because they intend to grant waiver, because they don't intend to keep her off the ballot. If they tried to keep her off the ballot, the state election commission would step in. That's what I'm trying to say here. They don't intend to keep her or anyone else off the ballot, right? We agree on that.
We'll see. I think it's not. I think it's not a closed question. But I don't want to interrupt you if you had more to say.
Yeah. Just so they don't. Okay, let's just take her as an example. They don't intend to keep her off the ballot, right?
Maybe.
So okay.
Well, they're trying. I would love to have more.
Okay, they're trying. They're trying to make sure either by interpreting the rules some way or doing a waiver or whatever the case may be. In that instance, of course, the state election commission doesn't get involved. There's no challenge. There's no legal challenge. But if they were to try and keep her off, it's not enforceable.
Yeah. Well, the way that it's been explained to me by my lawyer, who I will not name, is the following. So, of course, the people who wrote who are the lawyers for the SCGOP are going to have their interpretation. They're very worried that we will sue because we know that the only real constitutional authority that the party has under state law is to certify qualified candidates. We changed the definition of what a qualified candidate was effective July 1st. That's what the rule says, effective July 1st. These requirements are in place.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to tell you is we will have
what are those requirements?
Hear me out. We will have an executive committee meeting, Corey, on Tuesday. And it's going to be to take up those waivers because the rule is in effect. For those other two candidates. So there's one that there's a guy that filed for Senate that put a Charlotte address.
Lives in Charlotte.
And lives in Charlotte. So anyways, hear me out. So obviously he doesn't meet our 2 of 3 requirement, and we will be meeting on Tuesday before they certify. And so what I'm telling you is there are people, everybody talks, and I'm here to tell you what they say. There are people on the state executive committee. See, this is the thing about what's happening with the SCGOP's, they call it the Drew crew. They're split. Half of them, probably less than half of them, want Darlene. The other half wants who?
Russell Fry.
Boom.
Yeah.
And so this is where people like Barry Sanders make a huge mistake. Oh, they just do whatever Drew says. There's a lot of people who vote for Drew because there's never been a viable alternative. They're all crazy like Barry Sanders. And so
I'd say 40%. Actually,
yeah, and so they're like, fine, okay, this is the less crazy. Drew's competent. At least they win the elections. At least they beat the Democrats. They raise the money. They do all those things, which is why you have to have somebody who can do all that to challenge him. But there's folks in the middle. I'll give you an example. Do you know the guy Verd Odom, who's a chairman of Marlboro
yeah, I know him very well.
Okay, so he posts either yesterday or the day before. He says, The state executive committee will not grant a waiver for Darlene. He's a big Drew McKissick supporter. I will not. He's like, I am hearing from. There's a whole post I can send you.
And he loved Lindsay too.
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is, Corey, is that he's a Russell Fry guy, and there is a chance here that the state executive committee, decides not to grant that waiver, and so it is a not zero chance. Is it a high chance? No. But here's the deal, man. We shouldn't be in this absurd situation to begin with. We shouldn't be even having to have this conversation. And she shouldn't be running, frankly. Let's even go there.
Yeah.
She should not be running for a 6-year term. Her brother died 13 days ago, and it hasn't even been put in the ground yet, and her campaign website's up with her headshots, her platform, her donation page. She's inherited the staff.
That's the thing, and
it's disgusting.
It's two completely different questions, right? So I think that it's going to be moot because at the end of the day, they're going to grant a waiver, probably a universal one, because Nobody meets the requirements that they passed that take effect on July 1st. Nobody.
There's three that don't.
No, nobody, because nobody is a registered Republican for 90 days.
No, in that provision, the way I understand it is for the first time they implement that, and I could be wrong on this point, but for the first, that was the big compromise for the first primary. That's not going to matter.
It's not written out though, right? So it's
but it's
rules
not.
are.
But it's also not a
just
candidate
how it is
qualification.
in the written. Yes, it is a candidate qualification.
I know, but the whole okay. Well, we might have to.
Okay, but anyway, yeah,
I see your
that's
point.
what I mean.
I see your point.
So it's going to be moot anyway because they're going to grant a waiver to her and most likely everybody else if it comes down to it. And at the end of the day, who cares? She shouldn't. You're right. She shouldn't be running. And I've said this repeatedly.
She doesn't meet the requirement though. She shouldn't be on the ballot. She doesn't meet it, Corey.
Okay, but here's my thing: is that's so much wasted energy.
It's not because it's not wasted energy because it's.
I guess it depends on the goal.
It's okay. The goal is to show the absurdity of it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the absurdity of it is, like, this is how much Drew McKissick is bending over backwards right now. So rather than make the argument you're making, he's not making the argument you're making. He's making the argument that, Corey, she meets the requirement because in 2024 she voted in a local runoff for a state senate election. It's like, no, Corey,
well, wait,
no.
it specifically says a
statewide.
A statewide primary, my friend.
So if
I agree with
so,
you.
if the point is mute, he would have gone on Joey Hudson, who would just never push back on anything anybody ever says, and just say, Drew, wasn't that local runoff election for Katrina Shealy? Doesn't she not meet the requirement? She didn't vote in the presidential. She didn't vote for Sherry Biggs in the congressional. She just showed up for. So the point I'm trying to make is even Drew himself, the people on the complete other side of this argument, they are still trying to defend that interpretation that she does meet it because some local election, and that's what Abby Zilch, the Lindsey Graham communications director, she's making that argument too. She's not saying, the rule doesn't apply. She's saying, she does qualify.
I know, and I feel that they're doing that because they want to save face because they don't want to admit that their rule is impotent. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah. Where did Abby Zilch work before Lindsey Graham?
For Drew McKissick.
There we go.
I know.
There we go.
She's always been good to me. So
actually, I really do like her. I really do. She's a very sweet, and I've never want to disrespect her.
Yeah, but it's, that's her career. It is what it is.
That's what it does.
That being the case, Darlene Graham, it's the most disrespectful, disgusting thing for our state that this is being talked about, that this is being allowed. And I have made no qualms about that. Everybody knows my feelings on it, I hope. I mean, I've put them out there enough. But this whole concept of a royal succession, and also, did you see the call logs? Did you see the call
with the governor?
Henry McMaster's call logs?
What was the story there?
Well, he put them out of I guess people were asking, so he did release them, of course, and they were put out. But within
it shows the meeting, it shows the meetings, and it shows the times where they talked on the phone.
Yeah, repeatedly she called him, and every single time it was her calling him.
I didn't know that.
She called him, and late at night, and then early next day, and then in the afternoon, and then she called him. I think a total of 4 times. That looks like somebody lobbying for a position.
Oh, that's a great point. Here, have you seen the campaign website? You should show the people.
Proudly endorsed by President Trump. Where'd you get this headshot?
Here, look at this. They're already doing it. She answered the call. It says she answered the call, but you just said that
she made the call.
She made the call.
She made the call.
Run, Darlene, run. What happened? What happened to this guy, man?
I don't know. Well, you know what? Let's be fair. His endorsements have always been trash. At least 50% of them have.
You know that he did the co-endorsement in Arizona last week?
Did he?
He did the co-endorsement again.
That's amazing.
He did the co-endorsement again. I think, honestly, I love President Trump. I think we're in a period where no one cares what he has to say anymore. Here's 2 examples. Number
about
one,
that.
Hold on. What did he talk about in his July 4th speech?
Oh, I don't know.
But you should. So no one. Did anybody watch that?
No.
And then, we came on last week together and we talked about his speech. The mainstream media didn't even cover about, here we are a week later. It's only been 8 days since his speech about the Chinese hacking the election. And we've completely moved on.
A lot of that, I think that his disruptive nature early on has now become kind of so much of the norm. Do you know what I mean? So before it was like he was the news all the time in MSM all the time because it was a brand new thing. He was very disruptive to the mainstream media. He was out there just talking all the time. And it's been 10 years now. So that's kind of become
People are
normalized, so it kind of gets tuned out, right?
I think it's because we didn't get mass deportations. We didn't get no new wars. We didn't get America First. We didn't get, we love a lot of the things we are getting out of the White House, no doubt. But I think that there's a lot of Trump, instead of the Trump derangement syndrome, we're seeing Trump disappointment syndrome.
Oh, damn.
TDS.
I think, but that doesn't necessarily, I think it's two things, right? The people are tuning out because he's not keeping his promises.
Yeah.
And
we love him to death, but.
And I think that the mainstream media is tuning out because it doesn't get them the ratings that it used to,
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't get them the ratings that they used to.
So, anyway, guys, we'll be back in a couple minutes after these messages from our sponsors. If you're planning a date night, don't settle for ordinary. Take it to another level at the Melting Pot. This is where dinner becomes interactive, where you dip into rich cheese fondues, cook your own steak and seafood right at the table, and finish with warm chocolate fondue and sweet dippers. Their signature 4-course experience takes you from savory to sweet in one unforgettable night. Perfect for couples, celebrations, or just reconnecting with old friends. The Melting Pot. Set the mood, slow things down, enjoy the moment. Find the Melting Pot at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard West in Columbia and make your next night out one worth remembering. The Cigar Militia is the place to be. Owned by South Carolina State Representative Jay Kilmartin, this isn't just a business, it's a passion. And you can feel that the second you walk through the door. Top-tier cigars, a welcoming atmosphere, even private lockers so your collection stays exactly how you like it. They even host regular gatherings that bring people together beyond just cigars. If you're looking for a place that values quality, conversation, and community, this is it. Look no further. The Cigar Militia in Columbia, SC. Light up something better.
Looking for a realtor who gets it done and actually answers her phone? Meet Christy Gore with Realty One Group Coastal. Christy is a Tri-County top producer. She works hard, keeps you informed, and knows the Charleston Tri-County markets inside and out. From Dorchester to Berkeley and everywhere in between, she's helping you buy and sell residential homes with confidence. When other agents let calls go to voicemail, Christy's picking up and already finding your next home. So don't wait. Call 843-998-8250 or go online to christiescoastalhomes.com, where local experience meets real results.
Adam Curran here with Curran Financial Partners. We are proud to sponsor Corey Allen and Palmetto Talk Live. I'm a God-fearing, flag-waving conservative financial advisor, and my firm does it all, y'all. We can help you with your investments, we could do your taxes for you, and we can put together your estate planning documents for you. Reach out to my office by visiting our website. Go to retirey'all.com. Again, retirey'all.com, and get my book in the mail. We literally wrote the first and only book ever penned specifically about retiring in the great state of South Carolina. Retire Y'all, your guide to retiring in the state of South Carolina. Go to retirey'all.com to get a free copy of my book and come kick my company's tires. It might have a profound impact on you and your family's finances.
All right, guys, we are back with CJ Westfall, chairman of the Dorchester County Republican Party. Thanks for tuning in to Palmetto Talk Live. Definitely send us, we're live on YouTube right now. If you don't follow me on YouTube, at Palmetto Talk Live, we're trying to build that up now. It's been a long time since we've done that. We're also live streaming on my X account, and we're live streaming on Facebook. But we will be transferring over to only live streaming on YouTube and X, and then we will be posting it on Facebook in the near future, because they take down live videos after 30 days on Facebook, and I hate that. I think it's stupid that they've done that. But anyway,
That's crazy.
it is. It doesn't make any sense. And I'll tell you, I'm just glad that I back every live video that I do up, because I would have lost just
The archive.
tons of stuff. Yeah. So anyway, we've got something that we really, I think, need to talk about. I think it's something that's very, very important, and I think that it's going to really affect, the whole world, right?
The whole world.
The whole world.
The globe.
That, of course, is Israel and the United States merging their military, merging their intelligence.
Anti-Semite.
Me?
You.
I've been called worse.
Okay.
But also, I mean, if you're going to be called an anti-Semite for saying, hey, you know what, the United States military should probably be independent of any other nation.
Anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Well, we know where Darlene stands on that, right? Darlene Graham?
She's probably for it.
She definitely is for it. She said she'd already come out.
What'd she say?
I mean, I don't know what she said, but she's been endorsed by all the people who love it.
Who is she endorsed by?
What is it, the Republican Jewish Coalition or something like that? What is it?
Gosh.
You told me that. Don't play dumb. Okay. But this is very strange to me. It's Section 219 in the NDAA. Tell me a little bit about this. Like, what just the stone cold of it.
The NDAA is the must-pass defense legislation that's more important now than ever because we're in a time of war, which the current conflict with Iran is a conflict. It's not technically a war, and since it restarted after the MOU paused it, we have another 60-day clock that allows it to restart without congressional approval. So we're back in a new 60-day window.
Right.
But that makes the NDAA authorization even more important because we need the funding to be able to support our efforts, both in Venezuela, and then for all of our armed forces around the globe. And so it's must-pass legislation. So you always get all kinds of crap that gets put into there. And what AIPAC's been pushing for with all of their planted folks on the House Armed Services Committees is not only just like a data sharing, a research and development sharing, and intelligence sharing, and the word they're saying AOC is using the word merging. There's a lot of merging of our militaries, and the problem that a lot of people are having with this, Corey, is that there is a sovereignty element where it's like, should we be merging all of these military capabilities? Some people say yes, and they'll say, yeah, they're our greatest ally. But what people don't realize is that we don't have a treaty with Israel that's a mutual treaty. So, for example, Israel didn't send any troops to help us in Iraq.
No.
But folks in NATO did. So it's not like it's a mutual agreement where they support us, we support them. It's basically a one-sided agreement, and some people are okay with that. But I think that when tens of billions of dollars in additional funds that were just given, not just for Iron Dome, but for other military capabilities as a part of this, I think that it raises sovereignty questions because, for example, Corey, the last two times we talked about the Iran war a couple times, and we might agree, we might disagree, but the first time President Trump, it was last year, right before Midnight Hammer, he had a 45-day window where he was negotiating. I really believe President Trump did want to negotiate a deal because he wanted to beat Obama. He wanted to get a better deal. Mm-hmm. And then who struck during...
Israel comes in and says, we're going to drag you into this.
And then, okay, exactly. Then we have to go clean up the job. We have to finish the job. Then in the spring, President Trump is doing it again. So the tensions are heightening, and then the MOU comes out, and all of the Zionist correspondence, and I don't say that as a pejorative. This is the real people.
That's what they call themselves.
That's what they call themselves. Like people like Ben Shapiro, they were raking, and people like Mark Levin. Which, by the way, what happened to that guy?
I don't know, man. I used to listen to him and love him.
His brain broke. So anyway, when J.D. Vance is like, hey, I've been going back and forth to Pakistan. I've been going to Islamabad. I've been working on this MOU. We're going to release details, and then some bullet points come out. Then it's leaked, and then the Zionists in the United States did not want the agreement, and so part of that agreement was that us and Israel are going to stop attacking all of Iran and all its allies. So then they open the strait, and then we can have a 60-day window again to resume, negotiate a nuclear agreement. Because I think, and then you saw Trump that week say, well, maybe Iran should be able to have some nuclear enrichment as long as it's for civilian capacity. Well, maybe they should be able to have long range. Trump said all that stuff. And so then I'm getting to the conclusion here to tie it all together. So Zionists in America are attacking J.D. Vance's awesome deal. And then who was it that broke the MOU that got us to resume the conflict after the shooting stopped? The MOU stopped the shooting.
Right.
And it opened the strait for a very small period of time. Who was it that broke that MOU?
Israel bombed Libya, isn't that what it was?
Lebanon. The Christian sites in Lebanon. And then, there was a lot of Christian holy sites. The IDF did go and pick up some of those Christian statues that were bombed. But Lebanon is a Christian state. They're the only Christian state in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they're bombing Hezbollah, and Hezbollah are terrorists. But even President Trump said, when you're bombing and you're looking for the terrorists, you don't need to take out the entire apartment. You don't need to take out the whole building, okay? So my question for Corey...
Especially Israel doesn't have to do that.
I mean, my question for Corey and the listeners is, they've showed to not be a partner for peace. They've got their goals. They want to be the hegemon in the Middle East, which makes sense, and some people are okay with that. However... is it in America first? Is it in America's best interest for us to be tied? Now they've shown twice to drag us back into the conflict with Iran. And I'm not saying Iran is a great actor either, but they've shown to be willing to come to the deal and make a table. So my question is for Corey and the listeners, should we be merging our research and development? Should we be sharing data? Should we be merging effectively our militaries when we don't have a mutual treaty and when they haven't shown to be good partners for peace over the last year?
Well, I don't think we should be merging our intelligence or military with any other nation, to be honest with you. It's a very interesting thing that in the sense that this is completely unprecedented. We've never done this before. And we know that the CIA and will not even meet with Mossad in their own buildings.
Tell them why.
Because the Mossad always puts bugs wherever they go. In CIA, they have been found in CIA and Pentagon buildings. They are Mossad bugs. Mm-hmm. And so of course, why, if you can't, if our intelligence community cannot trust them enough to even have meetings in the CIA buildings, or tell them where our safe houses are, what happens when we merge our intelligence agency? Now, Mossad doesn't need to bug anybody. They've got access to it all. Yeah. That's very scary to me because Mossad does not work. It works differently because it's a different country, different rules, different, history, I guess. I don't know. I'm very concerned about this and where it leads, where it's heading.
I'm very concerned about all of our South Carolina House delegation members including Ralph Norman and Russell Fry and Nancy Mace, all voted to merge our militaries. And I believe in America first, and I believe that we've got a lot of needs here. And those needs are not met.
Do it?
Oh, yeah, all of them. And none of them spoke up on it. And I like all of them for different reasons, but I'm very disappointed. And I think that the average activist needs to remember, you can support the state of Israel, you can love the history of Jerusalem, and you can simultaneously say that we need to have American sovereignty. Because if you remember a guy named Jonathan Pollard, he was a guy who was a Mossad official that was kept in prison in the United States for almost 2 decades. And what was he doing, Corey? He was selling secrets to Russia during the Cold War. He was an Israeli Mossad and intelligence official who was selling secrets. And then for years, Benjamin Netanyahu, going back to the 90s, would beg every American president to pardon him. And who pardoned him? President Trump, and sent him back. And so, that is why I think it's a big deal, because they don't have a mutually exclusive treaty with us. They've had their officials sell secrets to our enemies before, China as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's
they have their own agenda.
Yeah,
and it does not their agenda in no world, in no way, shape, or form takes into account American lives. Mm-hmm. America is anything other than they those factions of the Israeli government, and I'm trying to be very careful because everybody wants to, make something of nothing when you say words. They try and redefine them, but they only see us as somebody who basically like a Doberman that they can pull around by the collar and say attack, and we do, and this would make us do it. Basically, it puts us in a position where, well, shit, we have to do it because they know everything about us now. They have access to all of our information, our military procedures, our intelligence. Like, this is out of this world. If this was any other nation, if this was England, people would be freaking the fuck out.
And you know what else, Corey, is they're so smart rhetorically because they've got a lot of Republicans, and it's okay. And if you're one of those, I'm not hating on you, convinced rhetorically that if you criticize the government of Israel, that you're anti. It's almost like during Black Lives Matter. If you criticize the tactics of the burning of the businesses, then you're racist. You don't think Black Lives Matter? It's like,
or the organization. If you
the organization, you're racist. You don't think it's the same rhetorical device that Black Lives Matter used when you criticize the organization or the tactics. It's the same thing here, and it's an intellectual, lazy thing that typically comes down to a generational thing. It's usually people under 70, people under 60 are not. It's not like they're against Israel, but they're just like, hey, can we just prioritize the needs of our country first? Gas is expensive as a result of this war we didn't want. Grocery prices are continuing to go up as a result of this war that we were promised we wouldn't get in. Heck, there was even a Donald Trump Jr. tweet that's going viral where he said, it was April of 2024, and it says, President Trump is, or my father would never get us into a full blown war with Iran. If it was the other person, that's because of strength that we don't go into a full blown war with Iran. And then now it's got like the reader's added context.
Oh yeah, does it? Yeah, they're talking about ground troops now taking over an island or a couple islands in the Strait. And
it's going to keep escalating, man.
I hope not. And here's my other thing on it. It's like, if we're gonna do it. Like, take them out. You know what I mean? Like
genocide them?
No, but no. I'm talking about like the regime. Like, take the no more pussyfooting around. Like, if you're gonna do it, because the longer you allow it to go,
they're so decentralized.
The more people,
their power's so decentralized. Like, that's what I think President Trump found out. Like, I think he got bad advice because I think he saw what happened in Venezuela where it was a dictator.
Sure.
And you took him out. You got a new regime. They're working.
This is an ideology that, yes. Okay.
This is decentralized though.
Right.
You take out the Ayatollah, it's like killing the Pope, number one. And so now where there may have been some people against the regime, now you've kind of rallied them, and then you've threatened the power plants and everything. But I'm telling you that you could take out the current guy that's there now. You could take out the next 6 leaders. And there's 6 different factions. It's all decentralized. The IRGC, has basically a succession plan. No matter how you cut the head off that snake, and that's not. Right. That's why it has to
Hydra.
be. It's Hydra, but that's why it has to be a peace through strength strategy. President Trump's instincts were right last spring, but the unfortunate thing was he was dealt a bad hand where he didn't have a good partner for peace.
Well, that's true. It's very hard. It's like if we're at the bar. And there's like my 5'0" friend, like talking shit to some drunk dude, trying to take his girl or whatever. And he's like, "No, my friend's gonna rock your shit."
You see that big tough guy over there?
He's gonna get you. And I'm like, "Dude, what?" He's like, "Come on, man, we rode together. You got it." You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm not. This has nothing to do with me.
Oh, that's such a great.
It does
example.
now. That's exactly what it is. It feels like that all the time.
Oh, but they're gonna have a nuclear bomb, Corey. They're gonna.
That's right. He's gonna shoot you too. I was like, no, he's not. Okay. We'll be back in just a couple minutes after these messages from our sponsors. The last thing I want to talk about briefly, because we don't have a lot of time, or can you stay in for another few minutes?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I want to talk about illegal immigration and illegals voting. All right, guys, we'll be back in 2 minutes. If you're planning a date night, don't settle for ordinary. Take it to another level at the Melting Pot. This is where dinner becomes interactive, where you dip into rich cheese fondues, cook your own steak and seafood right at the table, and finish with warm chocolate fondue and sweet dippers. Their signature 4-course experience takes you from savory to sweet in one unforgettable night. perfect for couples, celebrations, or just reconnecting with old friends. The Melting Pot. Set the mood, slow things down, enjoy the moment. Find the Melting Pot at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard West in Columbia and make your next night out one worth remembering. The Cigar Militia is the place to be. Owned by South Carolina State Representative Jay Kilmartin, this isn't just a business, it's a passion. And you can feel that the second you walk through the door. Top-tier cigars, a welcoming atmosphere, even private lockers so your collection stays exactly how you like it. They even host regular gatherings that bring people together beyond just cigars. If you're looking for a place that values quality, conversation, and community, this is it. Look no further. The Cigar Militia in Columbia, SC. Light up something better.
Looking for a realtor who gets it done and actually answers her phone? Meet Christy Gore with Realty One Group Coastal. Christy is a Tri-County top producer. She works hard, keeps you informed, and knows the Charleston Tri-County markets inside and out. From Dorchester to Berkeley and everywhere in between, she's helping you buy and sell residential homes with confidence. When other agents let calls go to voicemail, Christy's picking up and already finding your next home. So don't wait. Call 843-998-8250 or go online to christyscoastalhomes.com, where local experience meets real results.
Adam Curran here with Curran Financial Partners. We are proud to sponsor Corey Allen and Palmetto Talk Live. I'm a God-fearing, flag-waving, conservative financial advisor, and my firm does it all, y'all. We can help you with your investments, we could do your taxes for you, and we can put together your estate planning documents for you. Reach out to my office by visiting our website. Go to retirey'all.com. Again, retirey'all.com, and get my book in the mail. We literally wrote the first and only book ever penned specifically about retiring in the great state of South Carolina. Retire Y'all, your guide to retiring in the state of South Carolina. Go to retirey'all.com to get a free copy of my book and come kick my company's tires. It might have a profound impact on you and your family's finances.
All right, guys, we are back with CJ Westfall, the chairman of the Dorchester County Republican Party. And, man, we've covered a lot today. The last thing, so illegal immigrants voting.
They told us it wasn't happening, Corey.
Well, they say it's not happening. Then they say, okay, it happens a little. But also, it's literally legal. Did you know that it's legal in half a dozen, maybe a dozen jurisdictions throughout the United States for non-citizens, to vote?
It is.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
So first they say it's not happening, but even then when you show them that, and they're like, oh, what's your source? Okay, here, the law of, I don't know, this county in Massachusetts. Well, that doesn't matter because it's not national. It's like, what do you mean? You know? Then you come out and you say, okay, well, here are 6,000. This is a Democrat New Jersey governor. Her name's Mickey. Admitting to 6,600 illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, 400 of whom actually voted in the presidential election.
Oh, wow.
So that's a national election. They voted. And we're still supposed to be like, they still want to say, okay, well, that's not enough to change the outcome. But let me ask you
Is
this.
that what they've been saying?
That is, well, that's one
That's
of the
cope.
That's one of the main arguments that they make. There's never been enough illegal immigrants to change the outcome of an election. But it's like, okay,
That's not the point, yeah.
Well, first off, that's not the point. But secondly, if they're voting in the presidential election, they're also voting down ballot. How many elections have you, since you've been involved, have been won by less than 400 votes?
Over a dozen, yeah.
Yeah. Now, how many have been won by less than 6,600 votes? Most.
A lot of them, yeah.
Right?
Most of them.
So when we say these things, like, you're changing, and also we know that the closer your government is to the people, the more they have control of your daily life.
Right.
So the county council has more control of your day-to-day life than the United States Congress.
Right.
if they are voting in those elections, it has an even bigger impact on you. So why is this? Why is I don't understand their arguments. I don't understand the argument of who cares. I don't understand the argument of we shouldn't do anything because it's not happening enough for us to care. I don't get it.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I don't get why we're not getting mass deportations, but you're right. You're right, Corey. I mean, thankfully, Josh Kimbrell got us an amendment to block illegal immigrants from voting or registering to vote here. So we passed that in a referendum in South Carolina, thanks to Josh Kimbrell. But yeah, this has been crazy. The Democratic governor of New Jersey came out. And I'm almost skeptical if the Democrat governor of New Jersey saying, hey, here's how many people it was, they're probably covered up for something much bigger there. They're probably just giving us a piece of the information there.
You got to 10x that shit.
Yeah.
It's 10x all day. And also, so I guess the DHS came out with a report. They looked at 68 million voters, which is what, 1/3 of the rolls, 1/3 of the voters, I guess, 60, about that, I guess. Yeah, 220 million, I think, registered voters we have, which is crazy. We don't really. That's another thing. But they found 250,000 illegals who had voted, non-citizens.
Wow.
So people illegally voting in national elections. But they only looked at red states. And
because the blue states didn't turn over the voter rolls.
Because the blue states didn't turn over the voter rolls, and they continue to refuse to. So that's just the red states. There's there's 250,000. That's right. And New Jersey was one that they were able to get.
Okay.
So the only ones that they haven't been able to get are the most populous blue states.
And their whole thing is that President Trump's trying to get your voter data. President Trump's they're doing this whole crying wolf.
But it's because of this, because of them looking at these, that she was forced to admit the 6,600 illegals. Wow. So it's because of that, and also, I don't think in these Democrat states they would even know because they don't have any ID law. The only way, like imagine in a place where you do have to show ID, like South Carolina, you still have illegals voting. Mm-hmm. How the hell are you going to find that out in a Democrat state?
Yeah.
So why not? Like the Save America Act, I think has to pass. I know that there are some crazy things in it that shouldn't be in it, but at least the larger concept of voter ID, I don't know. Some people say it's unconstitutional. What do you think about it?
We need voter ID. I think the Save America Act is definitely it needs to pass, but I think that it's very clear that they knew that it wasn't going to pass and they were going to beat the drum so that we're not talking about the debt. We're not talking about the war. We're not talking about, but at the same time, this revelation with this report is it's shocking but we literally can't even get our own Republican coalition. We can't even get Lisa Murkowski, and we can't even get Susan Collins to vote for the Save America Act, and we can't even get it's 3 Republicans. Oh, and Mitch McConnell, who is he alive or?
I don't know. I think that he's technically alive.
Yeah, but the point is voter ID. The Save America Act never was going to get 60 votes, Corey. It's a pipe dream and then the whole thing about killing the filibuster, it's like that's just not going to happen. So it's like that's why I understand the average Republican person who's watching Fox News. Why can't they do it? They need to do it. I'm calling my congressman on Save America. But it's like what Thomas Massey said is so true. It's like they want you all whipped up on that so you're not focused on what we talked about with the NDAA, or we're not talking about the national debt, and we're spending more, $1.3 trillion for the new military budget. We're not talking about how the conflict just renewed at 60 days. It's like, but I do think the illegal immigrant voting, I think that is a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's not a problem. What I'm saying is
at the same time, we can do 2 things at once, like you said earlier.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they knew they would never get 60 votes. Yeah. 60 votes, that means that they're going to have to have every Republican and 7 Democrats. Which realistically, right. Democrats, should they vote for a bill that's about voter ID? Sure, yeah. Are you kidding me? And in the late 1990s, when Democrats weren't full-blown socialists and we weren't as polarized, then maybe something like that would have passed. But they knew from the beginning. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
They're bludgeoning that particular legislation. But I think that what you just pointed out with the Homeland Security report has much more broad implications than that particular bill.
No, I think, well, absolutely. And it's a good way to push. And it's also 83%. The last Pew Research poll that came out was 83% of Americans want voter ID.
Yeah.
But also, you said the filibuster they won't end the filibuster.
Right.
They will. It'll just be the Democrats that do it in 2 years.
Yeah, the Democrats will
will end the filibuster.
The Democrats will do it. And by the way, the Republicans will do it for things like the Supreme Court and whatnot, but not to protect our ballot.
Yeah.
Not to protect our elections. Not to, no matter how many reports come out of, and so what you just cited was 250,000 registered illegal immigrant voters in the entire United States, and that's only in red states that turned over.
That's only okay. It's
out of 68 million.
Yeah. Well, I think there were like 1 or 2 blue states, but they were smaller ones.
Okay.
The only ones that haven't given the information over are blue states.
Okay.
So they've only been able, the DHS has only been able to look at 60 million of our 220 million voters.
Okay.
So there are many states that have not turned it over, but there are even fewer blue states. The majority of them are blue states that haven't turned them over.
Sure.
And now, of course, they're doing some weird fact checking of like, well, some of these people don't live here anymore. It's like, okay, but that doesn't change anything. They're
vote. Still registered. Yeah,
they're still registered, and they did vote. So even though they may have been deported at this point, they still did vote, and that means that it can continue to happen. And why wait until something by the time it destroys our nation, we can't fix it at that point. You know, it's like you don't build a fence after the cows have come in and destroyed your lawn. You know?
Right.
That's insane to me. 300,000 deportations, that's crazy. We should have 20 million came under Biden.
So if there's 20 million, and we were promised, remember at the RNC, they were holding the mass deportation sign, and we only had 300,000. And, and some Republicans just don't have the stomach for it, what needs to really happen.
I know.
And I know that
they're afraid of the clips. They're afraid of the clips that'll come out of people crying. It's like, yeah, dude, people cry when they get arrested and go to jail. People cry when they're sent back to a place that is their home, and they don't want to go. People will do whatever, especially when a camera is focused on them.
That's true.
Like, fuck that. I'm sorry, but I can't care. Because, and have you ever seen the heat map of the empathy centers that wake up when you're talking about conservatives versus
I have not.
liberals?
That's interesting.
Oh, it's extremely interesting because when you look at the empathy centers in liberals, that basically in conservatives, they would ask them a question, okay, and they would see how their brain reacts. What do you think about, how empathetic are you to yourself? How about when you think about your parents, your sister, your kid, your brother? And then they would go out, your neighborhood, your county, your state, the world, and then they go into like manatees, endangered species. And the heat map was, for conservatives, it was what you would expect. I care about my family, and then my friends, and then my community, and then out. For liberals, it was the complete opposite. It was like endangered species, climate change
first.
That's where the heat map of empathy existed. And then when it came to their family and their friends. So I think, obviously conservatives are based in self-reliance and what can I fix around myself. Mm-hmm. And I believe that liberals and leftists in general are more focused on the things that they cannot control because they get a sick sense of self-satisfaction out of feeling powerless.
Like having the Ukrainian flag up and stuff.
That's right.
Something they have zero effect on, but they'll have nothing to say at their local city council meeting.
And they won't go to Christmas dinner with their family.
Right. But they'll have a Ukraine flag. That is a really interesting psychoanalysis.
I'll send it to you. Actually, I'll post that later today too. But hey, man, thanks for joining me.
Yes.
Come in anytime. We could do once a week, once every other week.
August 22nd, Faith, Family, and Freedom. Tickets will be on sale soon. Mark your calendar. You won't want to miss it. The biggest conservative event in the Low Country.
Let me do some interviews. this time.
Oh yeah, we'll have Corey interviewing all the guests. You're gonna really enjoy who it is, Corey. It's gonna be very special.
Okay, I'm stoked, man. I'm really excited. Yeah, August 22nd. We'll help you publish all that. This is my county.
We got to defend Dorchester County from these crazy socialists, man. We can't let Prophet get in office. Can't let him do it. The Prophet.
Would you? What if I got him on? Would you?
I'll come on with Prophet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could even have him bring on maybe the Democrat chair, Dorchester chair. What's his name?
Fatty Frank. Michael Frank.
Michael Frank. Yeah. We could do us two versus them two.
Oh man,
what do you
be
think?
Fun. I'm down. Public challenge.
There it is.
Frank, you got to come in. See, Frank actually. Okay, I'm gonna give him some credit. So his speech, I'm going to send you this whole thing of their crazy rally. They do it in like the middle. They're just very bad political organizers.
They're still doing it?
It's in the middle. No, not today, but it was like a week and a half ago. It's like 100 degrees out. They're doing it in the middle of the day, and it's outside. People are just miserable.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're doing. But Michael Frank ends up coming up and he's like, we need to be pragmatist. We need to not compromise. It's okay if someone's not 100% aligned. So he's trying to keep this coalition together of these like older centrist group ladies that used to run the Dorchester Democrats in these communists on the other side. And it's hilarious watching it. I'll send you the video.
And they're like, seize the means of production.
Yeah, exactly. You have to play. We should play it all on one of the shows.
I certainly will. Definitely send it to me. All right, guys. We will see you on Monday. I have no idea what we're doing on Monday, but I'm sure it'll be a great show.
It'll be good. I'm sure.
You know what? I think I'm going to try and have Tyler on the show again. He's always fun.
Yes.
When I have you and him, when you guys come in, it's always fun.
I want to come in with Tyler one day.
Yeah, you should. We'd have a blast. Anyway, guys, please support our sponsors. They support us. My name's Corey Allen. This has been Palmetto Talk Live. Check us out on YouTube, like I said, YouTube, X, and here on Facebook. See you soon.